Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This will be my Ahsoka Season 2 trailer video. They released it at Star Wars Celebration, Japan. Dave Filoni talked a lot about what was going on during the season, so we'll break it all down. Primarily how this all feeds into the Thrawn movie, what's happening with Anakin coming back. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. So just starting with the footage here, what they did is they actually did a retro-style Empire Strikes Back trailer for Ahsoka Season 2. So if you didn't ever watch it, for Empire Strikes Back, George Lucas released this first teaser trailer that was only concept art. The reason why he did that is that George Lucas released the first teaser trailer for Empire Strikes Back before he'd actually started filming the movie. So there was no actual footage that he could put in the actual trailer.
The continuation of the Star Wars saga, The Empire Strikes Back.
Dave Filoni released this Ahsoka Season 2 trailer days before they started actually filming Ahsoka Season 2. Like, they're literally starting the first day of filming a couple days after Celebration right now. It was definitely a huge deep cut, especially if you're an older fan, but Star Wars should actually use stuff like this more often, especially at big conventions like this. But he already knew what all the story was, so they had all the concept art, so they basically just did a retro-style teaser trailer like the first Empire Strikes Back trailer. Which is why they have the same type of voiceover and the same type of pan and scan type of look to it.
Grand Admiral Thrawn has returned. The Imperial Remnant is growing in power.
As we go along through the trailer footage, I'll talk about some of the specific things that Dave Filoni highlighted, like what's going on with the World Between Worlds this season, what's going on with Anakin Skywalker coming back, what's going on with Thrawn, what's going on with the Night Sisters, what is going on with the new recast version of Baylan's Skoll, Rory or McCann. So they started the trailer with a classic John Williams main Star Wars theme playing over the entire trailer because that's how the original Empire Strikes Back trailer went. But all the voiceover was specific to Ahsoka Season 2 stuff. So it says, Grand Admiral Thrawn has returned. The Imperial Remnant is growing in power. Who will be able to stop them? In the continuation of the Star Wars series, our heroes must confront enemies in 2 different galaxies as they battle the forces of evil. In the course of the Odyssey, we return to old friends, they show some of the characters that are coming back, encounter the powers of the occult, they show the Night Sisters on Dathomir. They're meant to be on Dathomir on the planet here in the teaser.
Cults. And battle ancient machines from a dark and terrible past.
You remember they arrive back at the planet at the very end of Season 1. And battle ancient machines from a dark and terrible past. This is Ahsoka fighting giant robots on the Peridia planet, probably left over from the Witch Kingdom of the Dathmiri, like old ancient robots that are just reactivated based on where she's going here. Probably something to do with the Temple of the Night Sisters with all the symbols of the World Between Worlds and them trying to make it to the Mortis realm. Baylan Skoll trying to make it to the Mortis realm. They're probably just giant robots there defending that place. Then the voiceover continues, saying, culminating in an awesome confrontation between Ahsoka Tano and the fallen Jedi Knight Baylan Skoll, where it shows Rory and McCann here. Then it just has a montage of all the different actors saying their names. Ahsoka Tano, Sabine Wren, Ezra Bridger, Hera Syndulla, the droid Hu Yang. Probably one of the coolest bits of footage is Hu Yang has this giant General Grievous style lightsaber battle where he uses a bunch of different arms, like 4 different arms with lightsabers in each to fight Shin Hati. The master of constructing lightsabers, the instructor to all the Jedi over all these centuries, now using a bunch of lightsabers. Makes sense that he would be able to do that. Then it says Chopper, and Dave Filoni actually made this joke that there was a lot of complaints about Season 1 there wasn't enough Chopper. Apparently people really want more Chopper, so there's way more Chopper in Season 2. Then it says Garazeb Aurelios, so Zeb will star in Season 2, like he'll cross over. He's also in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. We saw some footage of him during the actual movie trailer. I just did a separate video about that, so I'll link it at the end of this. Based on the way that Dave Filoni talked about, I believe that this is meant to take place after the events of the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, so maybe they'll address what's going on with Thrawn a little bit during the Mandalorian and Grogu, but I think for the most part, they're mostly just worried about a completely separate plot. Then the voiceover ends the trailer saying, in the continuation of the Star Wars series, Ahsoka Season 2. So part of the idea is that the season is meant to end in a larger, like a full-on space battle. Dave Filoni's like, it's going to be a real big battle. Like, think the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, the way that opened up in the giant battle over Coruscant. Only this time, it'll be between the New Republic and Thrawn, the forces of the Shadow Council, the Imperial Remnant that's been growing in power. But while that's going on in the main galaxy, you have Ahsoka Tano culminating in a fight against Baylan Skoll in the Peridia galaxy.
culminating in an awesome confrontation between Ahsoka Tano and the fallen Jedi Knight Baylan Skoll.
So the trailer starts with Thrawn on his battleship looking at a map of the main galaxy, planning his battle attack. You see a bunch of Imperials fighting New Republic forces. Another shot of Thrawn entering the bridge of his Star Destroyer with a bunch of the Night Troopers. That's what they called these stormtroopers that had been brought back to life, had been healed by the Night Sisters' magic. Then they show Ahsoka and Sabine on the Peridia planet riding a couple of animals from that planet, looking for what seems like the Night Sisters' temple. There's a shot of Ahsoka fighting what looked like some of the pirates that we saw at the end of Season 1, the ones that Shin Hati had basically moved to take over, like she was joining their group, but it sounded like she was going to be taking over their group. Then there's a shot of Captain Enoch, the main Night Trooper, Thrawn's main Night Trooper, fighting forces in the main galaxy. This is meant to be Thrawn's Star Destroyer, the Chimera, over the planet Dathomir, because remember, all the Night Sisters on Dathomir right now. That's basically their staging point for the time being. We see one of the newer, returned Night Sisters. We get a shot of Hera and Chopper in the middle of some fight here. Not sure if they're on Dathomir or somewhere else. This just seems like one of Thrawn's Star Destroyers, one of his Night Troopers. Ezra Bridger back at the New Republic base where we saw him at the end of Season 1, like he had just come back, so he's getting ready to fly off again. I believe this person kneeling is meant to be Baylan Skoll inside some place on Peridia that he's looking for, like an entrance into the Mortis realm. Whole bunch of Night Sisters on the Dathomir planet. This is just a random shot of Baylan Skoll looking at Ahsoka's ship. We get another shot of the Ghost in the main galaxy. This seems like the Ghost in the smaller shuttle that's attached to the Ghost, fighting in and around Thrawn's Star Destroyer. Another random shot of Ahsoka and Sabine walking on the Peridia planet with a giant animal skull near them. Not sure what kind of animal this is, some ancient dead animal. There are a couple bits of footage that they revealed that were not in this teaser trailer, though. Like you see Ahsoka staring at the doors to this giant Night Sister temple that have symbols on it that look like the symbols to the world between worlds. Like I said, this could be an entrance to like some connection to Mortis in some way.
It's a very compelling period in Anakin's life that we never really got to see in live action.
Hayden Christensen also crashed the panel to talk about his time with Ahsoka, coming back as the character, and confirm that he will be back during Season 2, probably in a couple different ways, both the world between worlds like Clone Wars flashbacks like we saw in Season 1, and also Force Ghost Anakin in present day. I believe young Ahsoka will also come back for like more live-action Clone Wars action. The only thing that they didn't absolutely confirm was Ewan McGregor coming back as Obi-Wan Kenobi during some of those Clone Wars flashbacks. There were a whole bunch of details that we found out about a couple of months ago, but they just waited till now to actually confirm. When it comes to the recasting of Baylan Skoll, a bunch of the panel was dedicated to him explaining what was going on with that and how he came to the decision to do that. The idea is that Baylan Skoll was such a critical character to the story of what they're trying to do during Ahsoka and right now in this Mando part of the timeline that there was no way they could just completely get rid of the character and the story would still make sense, so they had to recast. But one of the cool details, most of you remember Rory McCann from Game of Thrones is the Hound. He's amazing during a lot of different things. He's been in a bunch of other series besides Game of Thrones. But in real life, he was actually close personal friends with Ray Stevenson, so it was sort of like your friend taking over your role if you're not able to play him anymore. Really wound up being like the best possible situation out of something really, really terrible that happened. But I believe the idea is that the end of Ahsoka Season 2 is meant to feed into the Thrawn movie, so I think right now the idea is that if the Mando and Grogu movie works out, like I've done a trailer video for that, so I'll post a link at the end of this, but if everything works out with the movie, it makes as much money as they want it to make, they will just continue doing the Mandalorian and Grogu movies. They won't do the Mandalorian Season 4 anymore, like they'll just fully move them to movie status. They'll probably use the sequel to that movie for the actual Thrawn movie. They'll just turn that into the Thrawn movie. That'll be the culmination of all the storyline during this part of the timeline, the Mando part of the timeline. Then if that movie works out, they'll do a second Thrawn movie, and they'll do that kind of like a Thrawn trilogy, like an Heir to the Empire trilogy, because Dave Filoni also very specifically called out the Heir to the Empire trilogy when they were talking about what they were doing during this part of the timeline in general and in the movies, both the TV shows and the movies. So their big plan for the movies right now is to just basically do that type of, like the vibes of that trilogy. Obviously, the story's changed quite a bit at this point.
We've got Admiral Akbar back for Season 2 in a much, much, much bigger way He's going to go head-to-head with Thrawn.
Then I think after they're done with that, when it comes to live-action TV series, they'll move to like a completely different group of characters. There's been talk about them doing a live-action Cal Kestis series, but there are a couple unannounced live-action TV series that they're working on that they did not talk about during the actual Star Wars celebration. They will probably wait till after Ahsoka Season 2 to talk about what those are going to be. Like, oh, by the way, we're working on a Cal Kestis show, or like, by the way, we're working on these other TV shows in this other parts of the timeline. So once we start hearing about what those are going to be, I'll do more videos. But like the other big movie that they announced was the Ryan Gosling Star Wars Starfighter movie. I'll try to do a video for that at some point this week, but that's set like 5 years after The Rise of Skywalker. It's a completely different part of the timeline, completely different group of characters, so it's not meant to be connected to anything that's happening during Ahsoka Season 2 or the Mandalorian Grogu movie or like anything during that part of the timeline. If there's any other Easter eggs or references that you spotted in the Ahsoka Season 2 footage that I didn't talk about in the video, write them below in the comments. What they'll probably do is start releasing some more footage for this later this year, so whatever they wind up posting, of course I will do videos about it. There were a bunch of other trailers and teasers and footage that dropped the last couple of days, so I'll try to do videos for everything as quickly as possible. My Last of Us Season 2 Episode 2 video will post next, and I'll probably do my Daredevil Born Again Season 2 video right after that. So all that stuff should start posting by Monday morning. Be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that. Everybody click here for that Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, and click here for all my other Ahsoka Season 2 videos, because it seems like other people are also coming back from Star Wars canon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.